Well, it might be really hot and sunny now, and the winds have died down once again, but it's already taken its toll on some of my potato plants. One that we've already harvested, which gave us an harvest of a few salad potatoes and a couple of larger ones, but not much. But we've also got this one, and this has been battered consistently for a few months, so all the foliage on top now is pretty much dying. So with that in mind, I think it's time for another potato harvest. And this potato in this pot was a store-bought one. We just bought a regular bag of potatoes from the local supermarket, and we kept one and allowed it to chit, and then we put one potato in this pot, so we don't even know what variety of potato it is. We just know it's a white one. So it'll be interesting because it was just an experiment to see if we can get anything from this store-bought potato. But even more so now, since it's been consistently battered by weather, it's not even had time to grow to its full potential. But because there's so much damage now on top, it's very unlikely that whatever's in that pot is going to get any bigger. So we might as well have a look and see if we got anything from it. We've got loads more to go out in garden, so let's put this one out of its misery. And as always, we'll do it in a wheelbarrow because it makes it easier to do it this way. Plus, we can save that compost to use for something else. So first thing we'll do is we'll cut away all this dead top foliage. And then I'll bring in a little bit closer so you can see close up what we're getting. So there we go. Well, no sign of any potatoes at the bottom of this container. So let's just dig in. Actually, that's a good sized potato. A bit misshapen, but there's another one there. So we are getting something. So let's keep going. Oh yes, another good sized one. And that's a shame because that's a really big one, but it's split. And that could be due to overwatering. That is the original seed potato that we're putting. And again, a bit of a split in these potatoes, but they are still perfectly usable. Well, we've got a couple more. They're not split, so that's good. A few smaller ones. And again, smallish ones. Just get rid of this and then we'll have another good dig through. Not a bad size again. move some of this compost out of the way. Let's get these in a tray and see what we've got. I'm going to give these a quick blast with hose pipe to get some of that soil off so we can see the potatoes properly. So although we have actually got some potatoes from that battered plant, some of them have split. But this happened to a few potato plants last year as well. And even though they split, you can cut that out and you've still got a perfectly good usable potato. There's also a bit of scab on the skin which will disappear when you peel them, so they're still usable. And it's a shame that even when we get these odd shaped ones, again you can see these splits. Because this is a gardening channel which is based on learning as much as possible to get better harvests at the end of the season, if we come across any problems, we like to find a way to eliminate that for the future. And after doing quite a bit of research, I found a couple of reasons for your potatoes splitting, and it seems to occur more often than not in first and second earlies. And the reason behind that is the weather in the UK at that particular time of the year, early spring to the beginning of summer. The weather is inconsistent constantly, so we get spells of lots of rain and then we get lots of dry days, and what that does is it causes the inside of your potato to grow faster than the outer part, which then produces a split. These splits though are not usually susceptible to any type of disease, so even if your potato has split, it's still perfectly edible. It's just the overall appearance that's off-putting. And based on this year alone, with the crazy weather that we've been having, constant downpours of rain and wind, and then up to 87 degrees heats. So it's soaked, then it's bone dry, then it's soaked, and that goes on for those first months of the season. And that's what causes your potatoes to split. But the second reason is over fertilising with nitrogen can also cause potatoes to split. And overfeeding nitrogen kind of late in season. But for me personally, I would go with the first example every time. Because we all know in the UK that we've had that type of weather constantly for months, which has produced cracked potatoes. But while at the same time, we've just confirmed that they are still perfectly edible. That one, no splits, and quite a good size. And same with that and that. So we've got a mixture of good and bad, but overall we have got a little bit of an harvest out of it. And although you might think this is a little disappointing, to get something from a plant that was basically dying is still better than nothing. And the only downside to potatoes that turn out like this is they don't store. They have to be used straight away. But if you get a lot like this, you can do what I do, and that's freeze them. Chop them into the shapes of chips or roast potatoes after you've peeled and washed them, and then pop them in bags in your freezer. I did that last year and I had about 30 bags of chips and roast potatoes, and obviously the roast potatoes double up as mashed potatoes once you've defrosted them. And we was using them for quite a while. So even this is not the end of the world. So I'm going to pop these in a bag anyway and weigh them and see what we got in weight. So we got rid of all that soil off these potatoes. So now we'll just bag them and give them a weigh, see what they are. And as I said, it doesn't really matter that some have got damage to them, because they're all still perfectly usable. They just need to be used within a few days. I'll put that one in anyway. So the last time we did this, it was actually quite recent, and again it was a plant that had been continuously battered by wind to the point where it gave up trying to grow. And once they get to that stage, you might as well harvest them. And we got almost £2 of potatoes from that plant. So let's hope this is a little bit more. And we'll just forego the actual quality of the potato this time around, because we know it's had such an hard time growing over the last couple of months. And it was a shop bought potato, not a proper seed potato. So we'll set this to pounds and we'll get it on 0. So that's been set to 0. If you want one of these, so you can monitor your potato harvest that you might get from your containers, I've got a link to buy these, and they're quite cheap actually, but they're a really good tool if you've got that curiosity about you. So let's have a look at what they weigh. I'll just up that through there. Just turn this around so I can see it. So this time it's measuring almost £3 potatoes. In fact, actually £3 of potatoes. So we'll hang that back up, ready for another harvest, a bit later in the season. So it's £3 of potatoes in not very good condition, but as we've said, still usable. When you're doing this sort of game, you never know what's around the corner concerning insects, disease and extreme weather, and each one of them is going to add to the end result of your harvest. But I always think anything that you get is better than nothing at all. And if you want to see what comes out of all these pots, containers and raised beds later on in season, and please just hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and we'll see you all on the next update.